Okay, I am back. Turn on my new light here. There we go. What did y'all think about the lighting? Does it seem to be any better? So let me know. We're working on this front page in this book, and we're going to be working on the fins, or the fishtail. So yeah, I think it's going to be better if I lay it this way, just so I can zoom in for you. All right. So I am using Prismacolor, yellow to orange. Now, I have done a video about extenders, and if you've not used any or seen them, this is why they make them. There is still life in this pencil. I guarantee you there is life in this pencil. Let me get that tightened back up. There we go. Now I can use that. Okay, so yellow to orange. The number is 1002, I believe. And then my next shade is Pale Vermilion 921. And I did pull 4 shades here. Then I have, let's see. It's hard to tell which one of these is really the darkest when you look at the lead. So you could use either one of these. This one is Permanent Red, 122. And then this one is Poppy Red, 922. And I want to say the Poppy is a little darker. Let's see. Nope, that's not paper. Grab a piece of paper. You know, I'm sitting here and there's paper stuff everywhere. You'd think some of it would be. So I'm thinking the red is actually a deeper color because that Poppy has some orange in it. Okay, so we'll just go with that. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start with the yellow to orange. So just any color that will give you the vibrancy for the tips. Okay, for the edges here. And I'm just going to spend a bit of time just working on these edges. And you can see I'm leaving space next to the line because the darker color will go up next to that. And I don't have to come all the way down here because down there is going to be where the reds will be, the poppy and stuff like that. And you have to look and see which way this is overlapping. See, on this one, this is on top of this. So I would color next to this line and then kind of close because I'll put the darker color there. So next to this line and then kind of close. And I could actually go ahead and go right up next to that if I wanted to, because the next color coming in will be dark enough that it would lay over the top of this color. Okay, so just scooting our color in there. Let's see which one's on top. I want to say this one is on top. It can be confusing. That's one reason I'm doing this on video. All right, so that pancake breakfast for the neighborhood, we invited 10 families in the neighborhood. Now this could have been background, but I decided to make it part of the tail just because I didn't want blue just showing through, and I thought, well, it could have been this coming around, so that's why I did that. Yeah, so we invited 10 homes from the neighborhood and our life group from church. And what I'm thinking is New Year's Day was bad timing because of people being out late the night before. it was an indoor thing, so then you had people wondering about COVID and one thing another. Anyway, long story short, we had nobody from the neighborhood show up and only one couple from our life group, which we kind of expected because most of our life group people went out of town for the holidays and they just weren't back yet. Okay, so what we decided we're going to do is we're going to try it again in the spring or summer one morning when we can actually carry our long fold-out tables out to the front yard and make waffle mix instead of pancakes, carry my waffle maker out there and just set it up on the front sidewalk and invite the whole neighborhood and tell them to bring their own favorite toppings. Yeah, because we had, oh my gosh, we had strawberries, we had crushed pineapple, we had mandarin orange slices, I had chopped up peaches, what else? I had chocolate chips, there were mini marshmallows, trying to think of everything I had put out. There was so much food. But then my family did show, and we started family breakfast for lunch at noon. And so almost all of them came. So we did end up eating a lot of pancakes. In fact, I had to make more when everybody asked everybody if anybody wanted any more, and they all said no. So my son went in and finished them up. And then, okay, this right here is where it's actually ruffled. Okay, so that's why I stopped to look to make sure it wasn't any more of these circles. So there's that. So my son went in and ate the last of the pancakes, and then granddaughter went in, I want pancakes. And so I had to mix up some more, and that was like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I just went back, mixed up another batch, made them, she ate hers, and then hubby and I had pancakes the next morning for breakfast. So turned out fine. That's one thing. I find that I can reheat pancakes and they're okay, but if I try to reheat waffles, they just don't have that same good crunch to them that they had when they were fresh. I have not tried reheating them in the, what do you call that thing that we bought? Well, we didn't buy it. I traded it for artwork. Air fryer, that's it. So we haven't tried heating it that way yet. So that'll be the next thing to try. Okay, going in with the pale vermilion now. It's 9:21. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do one section just in case I take too long and this video disconnects on me before I'm done. So I'm going to go a little harder here and then get lighter as we blend in. And then this one, it appears that this is on top on both sides, so that's all I have to do. On this one, I'm going to do a little bit on each end. Here, let's see, it's tucked under that one, and it looks like it's just laying alongside or slightly on top of this one. So I'm going to get right here at the edge, just so that it looks like it's slightly under that other one. Same thing here, right at the edge, so that it does look like it's tucked up under the one next to it. And then this one looks like this swirls around on top just slightly, which means this side gets done just a bit. And then I'll just let that come together and keep coming up. So this one is really a good lesson on what's on top and what's underneath and how to color them to make them look that way. This one is on top and on top. So actually this is on top of this one. So let's go down just a little bit here. And you don't have to do a whole lot when you're trying to do that on top or underneath. Just enough that it gets in there. Okay? So then this one is on top. So I don't have to go down either side. Then it's going to tuck under and under. This is under. This is under. So I am going to go over here. And see, when it disappears quick like this, and it's such a small area, you have to blend those colors out pretty quick. And there's times that I didn't even put the lightest color on these because I knew it was going to have to blend out so quickly. And sometimes you just can't use all the colors. That's okay too. There is nothing wrong with that, y'all. You just squish in the best you can with all those colors. I'm going to do some right there in the middle. There we go. And here. But I do think that this section is a good section that shows what we're doing. And you'd repeat all that on here and on all of this. So then my next color we said we thought was going to be the 922, the poppy red. Now, once you're changing colors, start light. You can always get darker. But if I started really dark, it'd be hard to get lighter. Now I can go darker, and it's okay. Go on both ends of this. All right. And now we're just kind of getting up next to the edge. And I still have one color left. Remember, I did grab a red. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way to the edge with this color. And then when I bring in the next color, that'll be the color that goes way up in the creases. And then I'm going to come back with our very first color. And I'm going to go ahead and make it darker. Okay? But I'm saving that first color for down in those V's, and it'll overlap this color. And again, may not use every color. We did both sides of that. I'm going to go down in this. Here. My niece's kids, so I think it's called a grand. It's not really great. It's grand. Nieces and nephews were all here, and two of them are very artistic. Okay, so I'm going to change over to the last color, the 122 permanent red. And this is where I'm going to get way up in those areas. So the boy came in, he's 16, and he was in here in the studio. He's like, Aunt Pam, you have so much cool stuff. I said, well, it's a lot of stuff. I know that. See the difference in that and this? Watch how this is going to brighten. It's just going to brighten it up. And he said, I don't understand how you can have so many projects that you have going and how you get them finished. You know, I just wanted to laugh so hard, but at 16, they're still impressionable, and they're homeschooled, and their mommy, my niece, she bakes from scratch and all this stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, how to respond to this. I told him, I said, you know, for every project you see done, there's probably 2 more waiting to be done. And he's like, oh. So, but I told him, I said, you know, the big thing is cleaning up as you go. Now I'm going back to that first color, or the second color, the pale vermilion. Okay. because we have time, so I'm going to keep coloring. So anyway, I just encouraged him to go ahead and clean up after he's finished with whatever craft or art project he's doing. He's currently actually doing some of his own drawing and trying to write a book. So I'm like, oh, kudos, yeah. Because a lot of times kids start out their art with copying someone else's art, which that's fine, but there's a bazillion people that copy someone else's art. So there was a semester in high school where my daughter was actually told she could not turn anything in that was anime. Yeah, and you might be like, oh, wow. But she was in an advanced art program in high school. She graduated full international baccalaureate with college credit out the wazoo. So, and I don't know why I didn't go all the way to the tip here, so I'm going to go back to the first color and go all the way to the tip. Because it may get a little darker right here at the very tip, but that should go all the way. So anyway, this teacher told her no anime for the next semester. And what do you know? Daughter's art grew, and she found her own style and just really, really blossomed into the artist she is today. And she's done different things for the church and just all kinds of stuff. So I told the 16-year-old, I said, yeah, I said, the only thing is you got to not always copy everybody else's. You got to come up with your own. Okay, 922, back to Poppy Red. And so we talked about it for a little bit, and I saw his sketchbook, and he is really working on some fun things, and he's into the dragons and just all that different kind of stuff. And I think he actually heard me, you know, heard that I did like what he was doing, but still encouraging him to come into his own drawings. There was a few in there that weren't copied. The part where he's trying to write his little book about creatures and these different things. And there was a couple of sceneries. And I went, oh my goodness. I said, I can really tell that you made this up. And he goes, I did. How did you know? I said, because it screams of your personality. And he looked at me and I said, do you remember when you went out and looked at the sunset just a while ago? And you talked about how beautiful it was and how you loved the colors in it? He goes, yeah. I said, this looks like that, except not as colorful. And he goes, oh, well, I'm not good enough to add all those colors. I said, oh, but you are. I said, you just haven't practiced it yet. I said, you'll get there. So when they actually left our house, I pulled his mom aside and I said, okay. I said, we are unemployed, so we do have time. I said, but we also care for the in-laws who have dementia. So we spend a lot of time there. I did change back over to the red, okay, permanent red, 122. So I told her, I said, but I would love to have your two oldest ones over, because I talked about floating color in when they're painting and how to blend and stuff like that. I said, I'm ready to really help jumpstart these two oldest ones if that's something you'd like. And she was like, sure. I said, okay. I said, let's get it on the calendar soon. Now, I've gone back to the first color, and now I'm blending. So all of that to say, if you have access to influence a youngster in your life with their art, do it. Do it. Encourage them. When they're little, yes, they're going to trace, they're going to copy, they're going to do all those kinds of things. And that's fine, because that's when they learn how to use a pencil. That's when they learn about lines. That's when they learn about depth perception and all that stuff. But yeah, you've got that chance to influence their lives. Don't let that pass by. Do it. Yeah, encourage all that. Okay, so that area is finished now. How are we in time? We've still got time. Let's keep going. And if this time's out while I'm coloring, then you know I didn't say just a whole lot more. You know, I'm just showing you around here what I'm doing. That was the second color. I'm going to go to the third color. Third color, you know, is that poppy red. Fourth color, remember? Yep, permanent red. So whatever colors you're using, remember you can get by with just 3. You might even could do just 2. Now I already did all of this. I am going to come in further on this. I just feel like it needs it. Just bring that in. It'll just make it easier to blend and do a little bit there. Okay, it'll just make it easier to blend if we bring that in. Second color is the pale vermilion, 921. Hopefully you remembered to watch before you just started coloring with me. It's always best, I feel like, when you're coloring with someone to watch it the first time and then color along. That way, if I make a mistake, which I do, y'all, I am not a perfect colorist. No one has just arrived, you know. I hope I never get the big head that says, I've arrived, I've got it all. No. So I've made mistakes before in coloring and had to erase. And I did a page not long ago of some greens, and I did not like it. And I went through and erased the whole thing. So it happens. It happens, and you just have to roll with it. You really do. So don't let it stop you from going. The only time you really fail at something is when you tell yourself that you've failed and you can't do it and you never go back and try again. I mean, we're not going to get into it because most of y'all know, but how many tries did it take before the light bulb was invented? I'm just saying. So, okay, and this area is much more splotchy to me. I'm going to have to do some blending. Not sure what's going on with me, except maybe it's because it's back and forth instead of up and down now. I just wanted to be sure and get this to where you'd be able to see it easier. Okay? So that's why we turned the whole thing sideways to start with, remember? Going up the side a little bit because this one is on top of this one. Let's look at this one. This one is on top of this one. This one's on top of this one. And that's how you'll figure out what goes where. All right, going to the poppy. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say on the holidays or anything. This is actually Tuesday. I know, it's like Saturday for y'all. We still have not had Christmas with my sister's side of the family because they ended up with, some of them had COVID, some of them had sinusy stuff, and we were just waiting, and then we got ready to have it, and some of the guys had to go back to work, so we've just been waiting. So finally, everybody can get together late this afternoon. And so we're going to go have spaghetti dinner. I know, yum yum, at my niece's. As long as there's not mushrooms in the sauce, I can have it. I'm allergic to mushrooms. It's not pretty. All right, then to the permanent red. So, whoops, not yet. Forgot this. So we'll be out there tonight having our last Christmas celebration for the year. All right, I'm into that last red now. And then I am going to blend this piece. It's going to need lots of blending. But see here, I can go over this and then just lightly pull that color out. But this bright color just makes the piece pop. So don't forget when you're coloring that if your colors start looking a little duller than what you had envisioned, go back in with a brighter color and just go over it again. Sometimes just, whoops, I did that and that's not, so I'm going to get in there later and I'm going to erase that right there. Because if you follow, it comes out to nothing. So yeah, so if you're working like in reds and yellows, you can actually come in at the end with a yellow, and that'll help brighten it. If you're using greens, you can come in with a yellow. If you're using purple, sometimes you can come in with a red or blue, depending on which purple you used. Just experiment on another sheet of paper, bringing in other colors, and see which one actually looks the best. Okay? Woo! There we go. Isn't that pretty? I love the flowiness of it. Oh, and we did not run out of time. Looky there. All right, so turning you back around, that's the way it should be. And I will probably use, I may use poppy red to do all of this part. And then, well, let's just see. We have just a few minutes. So, poppy red. So I'm going to do all of this part in poppy red. Okay? And then I'm going to do here in poppy red. Okay, you're going to do yours better than that. Then I'm going to go to the pale vermilion, and it's going to come in here next. It'll go all through here and up to here. And then I'll come in with the yellowed orange and do all of this and blend it in. Okay, did that make sense? And then the only place, okay, where's poppied red again? Here's poppied red. So when I'm coming down through here with this poppied red, I was thinking I might use that dark red at the very tip, that permanent red. So then I'll come in with that permanent red. Oops, this is poppy, so I just used the wrong color. So here's the poppy. And then I'll come in with this red at the very, very tip to get in that V, to make it look like it's going down in there. Okay? And then here's the poppy coming out. Yeah, it's going to time out on us. And I'm just going to keep coming around. And then I'll do the other color. And then the other color. All right? Okay, be sure and give me a thumbs up, like, follow, post this to other folks. Let's get some people in here. And I will see you all in a few days. Have a great weekend. Bye.